For 20 years, Linda, my wife Linda, and I have been members of the same gym. And over the times, we have found that a very interesting thing happens the first 45 days of the year. And that is all of our classes. We take Zumba and yoga and sometimes Pilates. They're packed with people that we've never seen before. But we don't panic because we know that after Valentine's Day, they'll live. They disappear. And then it's all us old people there again that we have stayed with. And so I want to mention that because then I see here in a recent article in the New York Times, it says this of New Year's resolutions. By January 8th, some 25% of resolutions have fallen by the wayside. And by the time the year's end, fewer than 10% have kept them fully. Now, that is a scientist who did research, and I see it in the gym, and he did some study and found it's true. So my sermon today is to encourage you to come up with New Year's resolutions that you're going to keep. And I'm going to go through a little process of how to make that happen. The writer also suggested that if we have in our intention gratitude for things that we have, they last longer. And so keep that in mind when you're thinking about a New Year's resolution, that you need to imply or include or attempt some level of gratitude. And it also needs to be something that you would enjoy doing, because what we know is if we enjoy something, we have a tendency to do it more, as opposed to something that we have to do or somebody tells us that we need to do. If we choose it ourselves, it's much better. And here are the ingredients that make up this recipe for being successful. One, the first is to have a good intention. For example, in November of '99, I had a heart attack. And I went to an aftercare program that lasted 8 weeks and learned all kinds of various things, including about eating and exercise and all kinds of things that I had known about, but I forgot, or I knew about and I neglected. So I was quite overweight, and they put us on the program. Everybody was weighed, and depending on your age and your height and everything else, they give you a target of time when you're going to be at your ideal weight. So I created a affirmation that says, I am healthy in every possible way. Now, I wasn't healthy in every possible way at that time, and it's a goal that is pretty lofty. And by every possible way, I mean physically healthy, spiritually healthy, financially healthy, sociologically healthy, on. Okay, healthy in every possible way. It's a wonderful, wonderful goal. Now, can we be healthy in every possible way 24 hours a day forever? The answer is no. But if we have that as our goal, and we keep that in mind, and that is our intention, and we add gratitude for every pound we lose, okay, and every change that we make, we're going to be healthier in the long run than we will be if we didn't have that. Because these intentions are like having an internal GPS system guiding us to the place that we want to go. So they're very, very, very powerful. Another thing then is a good plan. And so what is the plan? In our case, in my case, it was tripling the amount of exercise that I did every week. Well, that was a good thing in itself. Another was to lose a certain amount of weight. Now, this morning I weighed myself. I'm 3 pounds more than my ideal perfect weight. That's pretty good. And it's pretty good because it's been a long time since I've been this light. Now, I'm going to brag about my wife. She's been on this program too, and she weighs the same thing now as she weighed when she was in junior high school. How do you like that? So what we did is we went through our house and got rid of everything that was bad for us. Now that took several boxes. And we made an agreement that we weren't going to bring junk into the house. Now, the exception to that is when we have a party or we have a dinner and we have people over, and sometimes they bring it in and so forth. But what we try to do is to get rid of all of that stuff that night before we go to bed, to either have them take it home or we run it down the drain. And the reason is we are very, very, very weak. And in the morning we are very weak, and we will eat that stuff. And we know that about ourselves, and because we know it, we have a plan. See, that's our plan, is to not have temptation in the house. And it's a great plan, and we do it pretty good. Not perfectly. I don't want to be perfect. That would be too much to bear. And then good accountability. That's the third thing. And so what do we have as far as accountability is concerned? Well, I go to a cardiologist and an internist. The cardiologist is Mark Wexman, and the internist is Steve Fugaro. And they keep me accountable, because when I'm going to go see them, I say to myself, I got to be good this week. Because I don't want to show up, have all my numbers wrong. There's nothing worse than going to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, you got eight numbers that are bad. You don't want to hear that. And another thing with the gym accountability is we pay the bill every month. And so that keeps us on track. So that's the general idea of how to make these resolutions last and stick. So a little piece of paper has been passed out, and I want you to take a look at that, and please feel free to take it home. Affirmations, whether they are written or spoken, they are declarations of our best intentions as if they are already in place. Now, at the time that I first heard of these, I did not consider myself a good father. And so I made an affirmation: I am a good father to Sean McLaird. And I didn't believe it. But later on, I did believe it, because I changed some things that I was doing because of that affirmation. We found this house, Linda found this house that we live in now. And we created a intention. George and Linda McLaird live in a home they can easily afford. That was our affirmation. And Linda got return, those little return slips she put on envelopes. She had them made up. And they arrived in the mail, and there were 100 of them. That was her affirmation. So I'm a big believer in affirmations. Now, when I was single, I wrote a long affirmation about the kind of woman I wanted to find. And there were about 10 or 12 things in there, and Linda hit every single one. So I'm not just giving you a sermon today about affirmations because, it's New Year's Eve. I'm doing it because they work. They work for me, and I use them constantly. 2, they are a roadmap accompanied by an intuitive GPS guiding us to where we wish to go. 3, a magnet which draws us to the desired destination. Now that's pretty good. It's almost like a self-driving car, which we're all, if we live long enough, we'll all have one someday. 4, a form of prayer. Now, I'm going to read a prayer by St. Francis that he did, not St. Francis, Pope Francis. I read one by him too. And it's down here, a recent prayer by Pope Francis for the entire world, about halfway down on this sheet of paper. May charity and nonviolence become the hallmark of our decisions within our private, social, and international life. Wow, what a prayer. What an affirmation. What an incredible thing to say and believe and to put out there on the table of what we want to do. Now, we read in the newspaper, and you won't hear this kind of stuff. You'll hear a few people talking about this, but never so clear. There's all kinds of hate going on in our media today, and it is dreadful to hear, and it is not good for anybody, because it brings us down, 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 rather than up, 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 where we want to go. Number 6, no, 5, a powerful form of self-fulfilling prophecy. And that's what they become. Number 6, when accompanied by our list of gratitudes, here it is again. I have a list of gratitudes. I have over 1,000 things on my list, including paper clips and ballpoint pens. I mean, I'm mentioning that because it doesn't have to be these great things. It can be everyday things that make our life convenient. And I do have my GPS in there because that is, I don't know how I drove before. When accompanied by our list of gratitudes, they are one of the easiest ways to capture the power of positive thinking. The power of positive thinking, the two people that I know about, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, who wrote The Power of Positive Thinking, currently about 7 million copies have been sold. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, 100 million copies, if you believe it. And they talk about that power of thinking high. And in the New Testament we have this: if there's anything good, anything kind, anything lovely, anything uplifting, think on these things. Now that is a wonderful thing to get ourselves into, to be thinking about good things, not just letting life happen to us, but to be assertive in the fact that we are going to be our leader of our band. I don't want anybody else leading my band. I'm leading my band, and I want my band to be as healthy as possible in every possible way. So down here are some affirmations. I'm healthy in every possible way. I am always in the right place at the right time, successfully engaged in the right activity. Now, the reason I like that is when I find myself not in the right place and I'm at the wrong time and I don't want to be there, it gives me an opportunity to look back and say, how come I signed up for this? Why did I agree to be here when I knew in saying yes, I didn't want to do it? And it's a great way to kind of keep things clear. So even if you do make the mistake and you're in the wrong place, it serves you. I am on my perfect spiritual path. And so you ask yourself, are you on your perfect spiritual path? Some people don't even know what the spiritual path is, or how to get on it, or whatever. I'm not going to tell you what all my spiritual path is, because it's pretty complicated and elaborate, but it works for me. So then we conclude. Now, let us welcome the new year, full of things which have never been before. Wow, what a great invitation.